Welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged.
where the characters are as quirky as the finds.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jake.
Join us as we dive into the wild world of garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, and anywhere secondhand sales are happening.
From bizarre bargains to hilarious haggles.
You won't believe the stories we've got lined up.
Let's get unhinged.
Hey everyone, this is Julie of the podcast Garage Sales Unhinged. I'm very excited this week because I have a new friend that has joined the podcast. Hi, Christine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So I want to be completely transparent with our listeners. And whenever I say listeners, probably my mom and a cousin, but and our friends listen to this. But Christine and I have never met in person. We are social media friends. I was thinking about that today of going, I think you're my first social media friend that I've had on the podcast.
Yay.
Yeah, all my other friends I've known for a while, but you came across my my view whenever you posted on LinkedIn about some thrift shopping and some great thrift clothes and outfits, and I was like, wait a minute, she sounds like someone I need to have on the podcast. So I reached out to you, and that's how we're here today. And yeah, we're just going to talk about why do we thrift? Why do we do secondhand sales? And how does that work in also like a corporate environment, a social environment? So what got you into thrift shopping? What led you down this path of funsies?
Well, I want to start out by saying thank you so much for connecting with me on LinkedIn. You never really know whether or not anybody's reading what you're writing about. So I was thrilled that you reached out to me and you're actually interested in something I wrote about, which was just really for fun. So thank you for that, Julie. And we have a lot in common, actually. We both live in Texas. We both have worked in the AEC or still work in the AEC industry. And like we talked about our family dynamics, and we have a lot in common. So I'm so happy that social media actually worked in a very positive way. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And to get into why I thrift. So my friend Laura, who's fabulous. I mean, she from Connecticut, she grew up with working for her mom in a shop that sold all sorts of beautiful crystal and china. And so she just knows everything about brands and high quality stuff, whether it's clothing or items for your home. You know, she just seems to know everything. And her houses are beautiful, beautifully decorated. And one day she asked me if I wanted to go thrifting in Connecticut. And I said, sure, why not? What's the harm in it? So what happened is just sort of like a friendly outing between, two good friends. To realize that thrifting was a budget-friendly way to shop. And it quickly became something deeper. I realized I didn't want a closet full of fast fashion. I wanted pieces that felt unique and timeless and meaningful. And thrifting let me build a wardrobe that reflects my style, values without overspending, right? What a dream. So plus the environment impact of fast fashion is hard to ignore. The clothing industry is one of the biggest polluters in the world. So buying secondhand in a small but powerful way helps to make a difference. It's about extending the life of great pieces, reducing waste, and saying no to throwaway culture. So honestly, there's no shame in thrifting. I take pride in it. It's a lot of fun to build a purposeful wardrobe and without spending a ton of money. So it's a hobby and I enjoy it. And it makes a lot of sense for me.
You and I are aligned on all of this. And my girlfriends will, there's times when they're like, hey, let's go antiquing, thrifting, garage sale shopping. And it's more, a lot of times it's a social aspect and it is fun to, especially if you're going to an estate sale. I found whenever you can go to an estate sale as a team, you get to find the things that may be stuck in a nook or a cranny and go, oh, that's awesome. I've been looking for XYZ. And if you have that other person there also looking on your behalf. You get to come across more stuff. But it is fun, and it's for me, like, doing that on a Saturday morning with my girlfriends, it's kinda like a way for us to gab, but also be productive, but also, like, not spend a lot of money and maybe find some treasures. One of the things that I wish I could do, Christine, and tell me if you have done this. I've seen people upcycle clothing that they buy at secondhand sales, and that's maybe like taking a t-shirt and then cutting it, resewing it, so now all of a sudden you have this great dress that is built out of this t-shirt. I'm not that creative, I'm not that crafty, but have you done any kind of, like, upcycling with clothing or, like, home decor or anything like that?
Well, couple of thoughts. So my husband and I actually do estate sailing on Saturday mornings. We both work full time. So like the estate sales really is an opportunity for us to get into the car together and just talk about things that, and spend time with each other. Where if we were at home, we'd probably be working or I don't know. So the fact that we get in the car and we're going to different estate sales, it gives us this opportunity to connect with one another.
Mhm.
And we like to see what the houses look like in Texas, which are different from being in Connecticut. So we kind of like all of that, the estate sailing and looking at houses, and we love a good bargain for sure. Um, I think that there are gold mines for home decor, and we've actually moving from Connecticut. We A lot of the furniture that we had in our Connecticut home didn't necessarily fit in our Texas home. And um,
That's kind
so
of a heartbreaking moment of like, "Oh, we're not gonna be able to take all this with us."
I felt like it was a new life for me. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I had an opportunity to explore like a new life with a new house and a new environment and new furniture. So it's sort of like a rebirth. That sounds crazy, but it really was a rebirth. So it felt liberating not to take necessarily all the stuff from Connecticut with me and just have this fresh start to try something completely new.
I
And
love
I'm really enjoying, yeah, I'm enjoying the lifestyle in Texas for sure. I miss a lot of things from New England, but I definitely just enjoy the environment, and it just gives you an opportunity to try out new things that you may have been afraid to purchase in the past or you didn't feel would work in your home. So like now you're finding all these new treasures that work. And when you're thrifting, you're like for Darren and I, my husband and I, it gives us an opportunity to slow down, shop with intention, support local communities, all those things. It's fun.
Mhm.
Um, but getting back to coming up with something brand new, my friend Laura is famous for that. She can actually go to the restore, buy these phenomenal uh, items. Like it could be silk curtains, or she can decorate her whole house around something maybe that she found at the restore and just build upon it, and it just looks absolutely amazing. But she is the one that will take those curtains and make something new out of them, and it's stunning. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for that, for anybody who can do that. But no, I don't have that ability yet.
Well, I think, the one that comes to mind for pop culture references is, Gone with the Wind, how she made her dress out of the curtains, and I'm not saying that anyone has to go do it, but I'm like, "Oh, that was pretty genius," whenever you have no fabric and you need to make a new dress to go to your ball or your gala or whatever it is. But yeah, I wish I had that skill set, I just don't. So,
there's
um,
a really there's a really funny Carol Burnett
yes.
episode. Did you see that?
Yeah. Explain to our listeners what it is, because I can't remember. Oh, because Carol didn't take out the curtain rod in her dress. And so her quote unquote shoulder pads are like 5 feet long. And yeah, her trying to get through a doorway and all that stuff. For anyone that doesn't know Carol Burnett or does not know that episode, please look it up. It is gold. It is comedy gold.
It's hysterical. Yes, for sure.
I love that you and your husband do this as almost like a date of like, hey, we're gonna connect. you may not buy anything. My parents do the same thing. It's like they love to go and look at, especially mm, here's okay, I'm gonna get on my soapbox. We always the common saying is baseball is America's pastime. And I would like to correct that and say that baseball is not America's pastime. People watching is America's pastime. And going to an estate sale is one, primo people watching, and two, getting to see someone else's house. I went to an estate sale recently, and the house was multiple levels, and I don't want to say multiple floors, it was multiple levels, and it was built in the 70s. And I'm like, they just don't do houses like this anymore. And being able to walk through almost this time capsule of American culture. It's a lot of fun to see that. Also, they had fun stuff to look at and things to scrounge around in, but for you and your husband to go and spend that as your reconnecting time, like, that's a great way to have a date without, like there's no, I don't think there's alcohol involved, but, like, you don't have to you don't have to buy an
I hope
expensive
not.
you don't have to buy an expensive meal. You don't have to get dressed up. It could just be like getting a coffee, get in the car and go for a ride and maybe find a little treasure along the way. I love that.
Are you planning a garage sale, yard sale, or estate sale and need some help? Look no further than Garage Sale Supply. They provide top notch resources and expert advice to help you host the perfect sale. From pricing tips to promotional strategies, they've got you covered. Visit GarageSaleSupply.com and make your next sale a success.
We really met some great people at estate sales. There was this one time where we were walking in and there was a woman who um she was having some difficulty walking. So I was like, "Oh, let me help you, up these stairs and this and that." And she said, "Oh, my husband's," it was one of those estate sales that you had to wait in a line to get into.
Mhm.
And so she's like, "Oh, well, come up with me. My husband's already got a place in line." And I was like, "We really don't want to do that." She's, "Oh no, you have to come." Cause like now our arms are locked into each other. Like what am I supposed to do? So my husband and I just went up with her and we were talking about, where we live, our past and things like that. We're bonding. Like we're standing in line waiting to get into a state sale, but we're bonding with these people. And you could see that she was in a lot of pain. So I asked her if I could pray for her. I like summoned up the courage and she was like, "Yes, please pray for me." And I'm like, wow, somebody actually wants me to pray for him. So I prayed for her, and the woman in front of us started praying for her as well. It was awesome. So there was this like community within a community.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about church and where we go. And we invited her to our church, and we just ended up becoming good friends with them. And so that was like another thing that happened in the state sale. And we all went in there and we were looking at different things, and they'd make comments like, "Oh yeah, go upstairs to see XYZ." And I don't know. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
It is, and I mean, to your point, you get to meet lovely people, and it's you may never see those people again, but in that moment of time, you built a community, you made friend this is also the other thing of, like, I tell people all the time, like, as an adult, the opportunity to make a new friend, becomes very rare because it's usually like a friend of a friend. We're not always in a position to just randomly make a human connection with someone who I don't have like a Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation from. Um, and yeah, to be able to do that at state sales and your story is not the first one that I've heard of that of like building community. I've done it, other people have done it, and it's yeah, I met that person at that one event. We had a good conversation. I learned about how they do collecting of certain items. And I'm like, that's really cool. I'm never going to collect that, but to see their passion about it really made me interested in what they were doing. And then also to bring in that type of small, I'm going to say small town vibe of, looking out for other people and making sure that everyone's having a good time and good health and all that stuff. Like that's fun. And that's, I'm going to say people may find that it's hard to find those types of moments, but here's our call to action. Go to estate sale. They happen at estate sales. You can build your community there. So that's cool.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
So I want to ask you because Why did you do your LinkedIn post? What made you say, "I'm gonna post this on a professional social media platform?"
I was thrifting that day, and I do a lot of writing, and it was just like another opportunity for me to share something interesting with real people and not try and necessarily push an agenda.
Mhm.
So I just kind of thought it was fun and helpful and educational. And sure, why not share something without trying to sell something necessarily that could be insightful to your LinkedIn community? And that blog post did amazingly well. Sometimes you just poop out on LinkedIn
Yeah.
of reading and being educated on things that are going on in the industry. So I just figured, well, I don't know, let me try this. Maybe it's helpful to other people. Maybe it could stir up their interest. And lo and behold, I met you.
Yeah.
And there were other people who talked to me about were just people that I hadn't even heard from in a long time that talked to me about how they go thrifting and their experiences of thrifting. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah. I think it's also one of those things of, especially in a corporate professional setting, I'm the first person to say, "You do not have to buy a brand new suit for work." Um, I've mentioned it before on the podcast in previous episodes of I've bought things at secondhand sales, and certain aspects of it were great, like maybe the arm length was great, but I needed it taken up in other places. I buy it for $5 and then take it to my tailor, and then they tailor it to my dimensions and everything, and, like, that's great, and I saved a lot of money on getting very professional clothes, and I think that's the thing of, for professionals that are constantly traveling, that are constantly in meetings. I work remote, so like I am business up top and workout shorts down below type thing of going, I still want to have a nice wardrobe to select from whenever I do have to get on a plane or I need to go to a client's office. But I don't want to necessarily I actually hate shopping at the big box stores. It's very overwhelming for me because there's so many options and so many things to look at. And sometimes going to a garage sale or a thrift store or consignment store, I've found some really good things at consignment stores of like, I don't have to search as hard and still find good quality stuff.
I agree. I agree. So I felt like my wardrobe was kind of pooping out.
Mhm.
And I had a tendency to always buy the same types of dresses, buy the same, you know, designer. And um, I found by thrifting, you there's so many upscale thrift stores, by the way, that I wasn't just grabbing whatever was trending when I go thrifting. It helps me sharpen my work style because I'm not just grabbing, like I said, whatever's trending or just going back to the same type of style. I'm curating a closet of classics that work for my body, my schedule, my personality. It allowed me the opportunity to try on new designer clothes that I never colors, styles I never would have even thought of. Because, like you said, with the big box stores, you're like, well, I'm going to stay away from that because I don't know, maybe that's too youthful or that's too trendy or that's not my style or whatever. And you just have these mindsets. But when you're thrifting, you're just sort of like, I'm just going to go through and explore and try new things. And it just gives you that opportunity to try new styles, new designers, and feel the fabric and kind of take your time. And I don't know, it's just liberating. It's liberating for your style, it's liberating for your closet, it's liberating for your budget. It's just such a great feeling to thrift and to try new things on. And you're just not stuck in the same style. Coming from New England, I was always wearing black. I always had the same style all the time. But then when I started thrifting, I just started switching up the colors and the designers, and It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that's such a good point, and I've never thought about it of, "Hey, I wanna try a new thing, and I don't wanna spend top dollar." Like, like, uh, I can't even think of something in my head of what I've bought recently, and I bought okay. I did buy a matching, like, jacket and skirt set. It's, like, hand embroidered, it's beautiful, but I would never buy that at, a big box store because, like, 1, this was made in the '90s and it's handmade. Couldn't afford that if it was just off the rack.
Yeah,
The other thing is even though I bought it as an outfit, me personally, I would never wear it together as an outfit because it's too matchy-matchy for me, but it gave me the opportunity to go, "Oh, well, can I pair it with this other thing that I have? Can I can I mix and match it with this other, piece of garment that I already own, or can I go out and buy a jeans that, fit that better?" And it is fun to create, I'm gonna say, this sense of who I am and how I come across in fashion and in style and in wardrobe. To your point, like, I'm also the same way of, like, I tend to gravitate towards a certain color palette, and whenever you're thrifting, you don't get the option of, "Oh, I like this, but I want it in a different color," because they usually just have one of one, and being able to pick that one thing up that, "Hey, this isn't really my color, but I really like the style of it and I wanna try it." And you're not spending top dollar for it because of that secondhand sales, discount that we all get. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to explore what could Julie look like in a hat and, take it off
exactly.
that tangent.
I agree. It allows you to just like explore and be creative and not you don't even have to worry necessarily about budget because you're getting everything and it's good quality clothing. Like a lot of these consignment stores will only accept uh, good quality clothing, designer name. I don't know. They have these standards. Maybe it's only 3 years old. It just depends on where you're shopping and what you're looking for. And so you know that you're not buying anything that's out of style, and you're not afraid to try new things. You just, like I said, you just sharpen your look and you have fun with it. And if for some reason you decide that you don't like it, it's like, okay, well, that cost me 20 bucks. Whatever. I wore it 3 times. Who cares? You know what I mean? It,
Yeah.
it it's so much fun.
Well, and a lot of the thrifting stores, not all of them, but a lot of them are supporting a 501(c)(3) organization. So it is that money that you're spending there goes back to that community group, and then it's doing good in your community. So to your point of, like, hey, if you wear it a couple times, it's not a staple of the wardrobe. You can still take it back to the thrift store and donate it back.
You
Um,
can.
because not to say that, and you don't need to get a refund. You just donate it back. Um, my last company, one year we did a gingerbread house contest, and it was, whoever had the best theme, where it was a competition, and I ended up doing a gingerbread house based off of Alice in Wonderland. And so I went to my local Goodwill and got a porcelain doll, and, like, she was sitting in the gingerbread house coming out of it like Alice in Wonderland, and I bought, like, some teacups from Goodwill. I bought, um no, I think I had the playing cards, but it was really cute. Yes, I did win. Um,
Yay.
well, and then once I was done with it, like, I didn't need porcelain teacups and I didn't need a porcelain doll. And so I just took it back to Goodwill, and so it was like I felt like I rented it for $6 and then took it back the next week, and I'm like, "It's fine." Some child out there or some collector out there will be like, "Oh, this is something I've been wanting," and then they can get it. So, yeah, it's such a good thing of, like, try stuff out. If you don't like it, and again, you didn't break the bank on it, uh, you can always take it back. You can always donate it to a good cause.
Exactly. The other really cool thing is that I was thrifting one day and they had told me, okay, well, we need clothing. If you have anything in your closet, you can bring it back and whatever, we'll evaluate it and see if you could sell it. It gave me the opportunity to go through my closet and really take a look at what I haven't worn and what, realistically what I'm not going to wear anymore. So, it gives you that opportunity to just reevaluate what you like, what you don't like, and donate, like you said, donate or try and consign items that you have in your closet. And I think it's a good thing not to have a lot of clutter, at least in my opinion, in your house, right? I don't like clutter. So I
You
don't
and I
know.
are
It
so
works
much
for
alike.
me. It just works for me. I was like, yeah, I clean my closet out with all these good intentions of either donating clothing or, maybe getting some money back or
Yeah.
something on credit for consigning. So that was helpful.
And I think it is one of those things, I'm sure there's a psychologist out there saying, "Yeah, Julie, we have research on that," of whenever you have a less cluttered home and less cluttered closet, it also leads to a less cluttered brain. So, like, whenever I have my work desk clean, I'm like, "Oh, I can actually be more productive because I have less clutter that I'm looking at." And it's the same thing of, I still want to pare down my closet even more, but having staples in it that I know, hey, in a quick pinch, I have something I can wear and I don't have to spend minutes upon minutes trying to find something to wear for an event. It's nice just to have it right there and I can pick it up and go. Yeah, because I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to find something to wear in my closet.
I know. I agree. So one fun thing that happened was when I was consigning, I was in, I like to go to consignment shops wherever I'm vacationing and whatnot. And I went to a consignment shop in Block Island with my friend Robin, and I found this Vera Wong dress. So I worked for a company where every year they had this big gala,
Mm.
and and every year you got to get a different dress because
Yep.
they take a million pictures and et cetera, et cetera. So I found this beautiful Vera Wong dress. But I don't know, just wasn't in the realm of possibility of me shopping and finding a gown. I don't know. And here it was at the consignment shop. It was brand new. And I was able to get it at a fraction of the cost, and I was able to wear it at the scale. I didn't even have to get it, like, altered or
Oh,
anything. It just fits
nice.
perfectly, and I love it, and I can't wait to wear it again. And, I had asked, well, my niece, my goddaughter, sorry, is, um, getting engaged, and then, we talked about, well, I'm like, "Can I wear this dress at your wedding?" So it's just like, I don't know, you're creating, like, somebody else created a memory, and that outfit, and then now I have the opportunity to create a memory in that outfit, and it's not just about cost and budget, it's about, stories and, feeling good about yourself when you're wearing an outfit and not feeling that pinch of, I've got to go to the big department store and find something that fits and wear something that I never really liked. You get to wear clothing that you really love.
Well, and I had this conversation with a friend last week around, sometimes clearing out the closet is also clearing out emotions tied to clothing. So for a friend that has lost a lot of weight, she wants to get rid of the bigger clothes because it was at a time that she wasn't healthy and she didn't really like that aspect of her time in her life and she didn't want to go back to that size. And I also think of friends that have gone through breakups or divorce or, you know, and it's not even a negative connotation. Sometimes it's, you know, I've moved out of an apartment, I bought my first home, and I still have clothes in there that I wore in high school. And, it's just kind of releasing emotions and memories with those things and going, there's still life in them, but I don't want to wear them anymore and I don't want to see them anymore. So I'm going to go take it to a thrift store, a consignment store, and let someone else have really good memories and get some more bang out of the fabric's buck, essentially, of going, you and I talked about it before in a prep call for this podcast of how much actually goes to landfills and textile waste. And a lot of it is fast fashion. You wear it a couple times and it's disintegrated
So
and you gotta throw it away. But there's oftentimes we get rid of stuff when it's like, no, it still has life left into it. And I think the secondhand sales market definitely helps with that.
yeah, definitely. You want to do your part, big or small, in reducing waste and saying no to, this culture of no, a throwaway culture, right? So you want to do your best. I want to do my best not to add to the landfills, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's huge that there's a whole sustainability aspect and thrifting. And honestly, I think like a lot of people would applaud it.
Yeah. We have just a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask you, do you have any tidbits for our listeners that they're going, "Hey, I am now inspired to go out and find some work appropriate outfits, jewelry, maybe even something to decorate my house with." Do you have places that you love to go to, and whether it's the exact name or, hey, the type of place I like to go to find types of stuff that you can share with our listeners?
I'm trying to think of the name of the stores that I go to around here. I think it might be Clothing Mentor. I live in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I certainly haven't explored everything that's out there, but personally, I like to go to the thrift stores where they have professional clothing, just because that's what I'm drawn to.
Mhm.
In Connecticut, there's a place called Red, White, and Blue, if you can imagine, and they have everything in there, everything for every age, but I try to make it a point to research wherever it is that I'm going, whether it be, California or New England or here in Texas, like just take a few minutes to see where the thrift stores are and just try and hit a few, you know,
Yeah.
for the heck of it. And, I have a tendency, if I was to give some recommendations to some folks, I would say go in with a loose idea and be flexible. You know, sometimes it's like something that you weren't even looking for, right? You'll find the best piece when you're not necessarily looking for it. And check the labels because there's just beautiful, you know, high quality clothing out there. If you like that kind of thing, like Calvin Klein, Talbot's, Lily Pulitzer, I don't know, very long, right? It just depends on what you like. And feel the fabric. Like I'm a big thing about the fabric has to feel good and it has to look right. You don't have to just buy something because it's at a thrift store. You really got to fall in love with it because then you'll wear it more often. And obviously try things on. Don't be afraid to take a few minutes to try things on because that'll make all the difference in the world. And go often.
Yeah.
Inventory in these thrift stores change all the time. So don't just go once and say, "Oh, there's never anything there for me." The more you go, the more more often, you'll find something that you really love and cherish.
Yeah. I, I love all that advice. I've also started buying, really nice costume jewelry that I can still wear in a professional setting. But it's kind of like a statement necklace or some funky earrings, and I get so many compliments on them. And also too, so I go to a lot of conferences. One of my favorite things to do with my friends that are going to be at that conference is I tell them, "Hey, we're playing a game. Every day I'm going to wear at least one thing that is from a secondhand sale. I want you to come up and guess what it is."
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so, like, and I've always thrown them for a loop because, like, "Oh, is it this? Is it that?" I'm like, "Nope, today it's my shoes." And they're like, "I wasn't even looking at shoes." So, it's a fun game to play, and it's also one of those things because it's also one of those things where someone's like, "Oh, I love your top." And you're like, "Thanks, I got it for $6 at this store." And, like, we always like to, like, it's almost like our trophy of, like, I didn't spend a lot of money on this really cool thing. Um, and so being able to do that and going, "Yeah, this thrift store find," I get compliments on it because, again, it's a different piece. It's not easily found at a lot of, large box stores. And then also I had a vision of how I was gonna pair it with something else in my wardrobe, so it really makes it pop. But, those are fun, and they're fun finds, and you're so on point with the thrift stores, the consignment stores, because again, they're gonna sell whatever's coming in the door, and they're selling stuff as it's going out the door. They always have something different, and it is fun. So even if you went last week, if you went last month, if you go tomorrow, they're gonna have different stuff already.
I love it. I love a good treasure hunt. And what's more stylish than being smart, sustainable, and totally yourself, right?
Yeah, I love that. That is so good. Well, Christine, I want to say thanks for joining the Garage Sales Unhinged podcast.
Yeah.
This was a really good conversation, and I'm so glad that I made a social media friend. And Christine and I have already talked about, hey, let's get together and go shopping together and do some thrift store finds. So that may be an upcoming episode.
I would love to. Let's do it. Let's make a
Well,
date and do it.
I love it. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week on the podcast. Bye.
Bye.